Welcome to Yildiz Readings 5D. We're here to do your update, Divine Feminine. Before we start, I'm your host, Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. I'm a psychic medium, clairvoyant, and intuitive astrologer, as well as a soul coach. Separately, we host our membership that is being prepared for 2026. For those of you that are going to need that added support moving through our ascension process, if you're interested in that, and for bookings online, you can get all the links directly below. Now, let's have a look at your read this week and what I see coming through for you. Now, I did see this in the context of your love life as well as the connection and where you stand in the world. It could be that you have a hidden heart decision to make, and you could be looking at things and trying to really step back from the painting and have, we could say, have less ego involved, but again, it is a hidden heart situation. I think you're really wanting to transform yourself to the point where wounds no longer are defining you. And, you would absolutely be forgiven if some of those things surfaced during our Mercury retrograde. And I feel as though right now, not to forget your spiritual sense, okay? Because with this crowning energy, sometimes, especially in the twin flame path, we forget, like the X-Files, both polarities exist. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes we do get into layman's terms of the 3D and what is physically happening, trying to look at it, from an ascended point of view, but also trying to not forget that this being a spiritual connection means some things are unexplainable, which can be the magician energy also. Now, why am I referencing this? I feel I'm referencing it because you could be hitting a stumbling block. Some of you may be wanting to move forward, which it's not to say you can't. We are always, descending and ascending and moving forward and transitioning. But for some of you, there could be sort of like, because you've kind of found yourself up against a wall and being challenged by some trauma that has resurfaced, you could be looking at this going, okay, I need to ascend now. I need to move forward. I'm going to be like the Phoenix rising. And sometimes this can be super, super positive. It can be, okay, I've seen what is directly before me, and now I'm ready to deal. Now, we're going to get in the context of the most recent past. And this is to help us understand what is happening in your circle of your world through this week's energy. We see to the most recent past. We had the eclipse back, I believe it was September, October. Okay, that pocket of energy. We then moved into retrogrades. We then moved into the Mercury retrograde, moving between two signs, which was Scorpio and Sagittarius. We also take note, this is very important for all divine feminines. We had a Venus retrograde this year. We had a Mars retrograde this year. We had a Juno retrograde. And those of you that follow the twin flame path, pay attention to the astrology in the context of Mars, Venus, and Juno, because they are going to be quite significant in the context of your ascension, your transformative state. Mercury also will link to the reconnecting, also your Venus return. Now, with this in hand and thought, plus the North Node in Pisces, look at the card, it's in reverse, having faith. Pisces can be very spiritual. It can be to do with faith, beliefs, the dream. We were in that Neptunian energy. Sun then came along. It was very stifling. It was limiting. It was like, okay, have I lost my faith? I'm very 3D. We've been going through this washing machine cycle for a couple of years now. And I think a lot of you can directly relate to that. Where you are at the minute is through that process, not all is lost. You're actually moving into a space where you're ascending. You're moving like the Phoenix out of the 3D, out, up, and up. And, there's something in a shedding of the old and a moving to the new. And we notice the next card. Now, this is a soulmate energy. This is very common, I would say, when you have a transition of your Venus coming through. There's 2 major portals during the year that you directly can have that happen, and sometimes others. The other is where you stand at the moment. This card breaks down to a 5. It is, fives are, and, I do believe masculine had 5s coming up. I'm not yeah, go double check. I'm pretty sure, but there is that frequency coming through with them also. 5s are all about changes. There is a point in your life you do get to that T section in the road, and I feel this is very relevant to this read. You're at a T section of the road. You're ready for change. You reach this impasse. We went through these retrogrades. It moved us backwards. It took us to that dark night of the soul energy, and liberated us. And some of us could have just been plain Jane scared that we were going back over old ground, and heck, hell to the no, I'm not doing that. Others, it could have been a very threatening circumstance with external influences, excuse the French, frackery, etc. Right? Where you felt stuck, which we're going to go back to the top row because I don't want to get ahead of us here. I'm trying to paint this picture to help you deeply understand what's happening. For some of you, it could be you're saying, you know what, I'm ready, I'm moving forward, and there could be some people coming into your life. Now, it could be you're saying to yourself, I'm going to move to a soulmate. It's easier. With your ascension process, be it it's a soulmate, a person, a twin, when our healing is to a point we're able to deal with other individuals, we're ready. It's a little bit like, and far be it for me to tell you if you are or aren't ready. That is something only you can decide. And your guides and your oversouls are going to co-create that regardless. For some of you, it could be that you are questioning, hey, was this a soulmate energy? Was this a twin? Like I said, the Dana Scully Mulder effect. However, for some of you, it could be suddenly a lot of people are coming into your life and you're thinking, gosh, what's going on? I'm just staying in my lane. I'm doing my thing. I don't think I'm a sleeper fly. I'm very focused. Why are these people coming into my life? Because you're in your vortex and like attracts like. So when you are disconnected, you're in that statement pace. I don't need anything. I'm just being present. I'm staying in my lane. You will naturally, like honey to the bee, attract things. If you can get into that vortex, you're going to attract it. And you're going to be moving on and up. Some of you, the warning is, and this is one of those years, and I'm just going to pre-warn you, especially because of the axis of Pisces and Virgo, until we exit that portal, it's better to deal with old energy than new because it isn't ending, okay? So what we're doing is clearing out old situations to liberate ourselves. We're almost there. So that we can have this brand new chapter. And we're going to find collectively a lot of energies are going to come through and be stepping into their soul mission, stepping into what they're going to be doing moving ahead, and being the more authentic version of themselves. That means the union energy is more conducive. Many of you are going to come into that communication, that movement. Those that are Virgo and Pisces also are going to have deep transformations. So you've got a little bit more to go with it wrapping up next year, but not the complete year. When we go to this bottom row, and that's not to say you're not having reconciliation, okay? That's not what this energy update is about. Here you may feel trapped. That whole transition might have made you feel trapped, but it's helped you come back to the you. Now, I feel this has directly impacted the masculine and the feminine in this transit. And I do feel both parties were actually thinking quite heavily, even if old kind of ways of relating cause conflict and triggers, be it in the thought, the ethers, or the 3D. Both of you have gone through a transition. You could be stuck at a stalemate, wondering, okay, I'm having this new beginning. Where the heck do I go from here? Now, universe is asking you to put one foot in front of the other. You could be asking, I damn straight don't want to repeat the same pattern. But it's going to require faith to proceed forward and know when to step left, when to step right. Because this card is all about the sacrifices you made are not in vain, learned lessons beyond the ego, and knowing what is going to work and what isn't, and doing something different. And I feel that you getting confused whether it is or isn't is more about you actually stepping away from the ego, going into the heart space, and rising above the situation with the phoenix there in the heart of it, and actually seeing all angles and knowing with that Trinity energy, you got, you know, you got your spiritual essence, you got your 3D essence. Both exist. You in the portal of that, in the heart of the matter, and as above, as below. So both exist. But getting to the root of what actually lights you up. You know, my grandmother said this to me years ago. Somebody is either going to bring the worst or the best out in you. One thing I did notice with certain people in my life, even the worst things ended up being the best things because they transformed me to a degree. I would never be the person I am today had it not happened. So it does depend on the eye of the beholder, away from the ego and how you perceive things. There is somebody here that is wanting to be with you, but there's a big question mark, Divine Feminine. I feel it's more on your side than theirs. You may feel it's the most rational human choice to proceed forward, and you may hide that. And I'm looking at this person with the soulmate energy, and I'm noticing how she's got her hand slightly over her heart chakra. You can't hide from the truth of what is true for you. And this person is actually dreaming about you. You psychically could be actually tuning into it many times because a lot of you innately hold a very psychic energy. You can tune into it ahead of time. So this can be over the next few weeks. But I definitely do see you at a portal and a crossroad. The person is looking at you as extremely attractive. You may feel trapped. I want you to know you're not. This is not a curse. This is not here to curse you. It's here to heal you. It's here to push you back into your power. It's here to help you to understand that you can have it all, that you are equipped and you are whole. And that as you realize that, this person also goes through that remembrance and they have not forgotten you. And you have all the tools inside of you to actually address this moving forward in a very spiritual, tactical way with getting the 3D for you. But you don't have to sacrifice everything. Now, if you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you join our channel. Separately, if you do want to sign up for our newsletter that is coming out early 2026, jump down below and get the links to visit our website. Now, on the website, we host bookings, emergency bookings over the silly season. We do have events that are going to be popping up, as well as vlogs and more. Now, if you do want to join the membership, a lot of the webinars and events we host are going to be part of a subscription plan per level. So if you do want to jump on and get them all included, you can go through and sign up to our Sage Inner Circle Network. Over the next 3 years, I can say it is going to be energetically quite challenging, but with the support and tools, I do feel this can actually help you move through that process less alone and more informed. And I feel that's something we're all going to need, is a sense of community and belonging and support. And definitely kind of developing those tools as a group will be deeply important. If that's something you're interested in, you can go to our website to find the link and all information directly below. Otherwise, don't forget to look at the masculine, feminine, and karmic. And I'd love to hear your feedback as to how this video actually linked